I'm tired of this city and this relationship. I'm leaving.
Go ahead, see if Asia makes you happy.
So today, I'd like to talk about America's broken dating culture and how it's cooked. These are my first-hand observations and experiences, and I did this way before the trend of the passport bros movement. Now, for many of you who are unfamiliar with this, the passport bros is actually a term coined probably back in the early 2020s for people who left their home countries in order to find love in foreign countries. Now, this often has positive and negative stereotypes. On one hand, people who claim that they left their country and they found better love lives elsewhere, that they're happier for doing it and they're very successful. But then there's also the negative side of the passport bros movement, where you have the toxic people who were really unsuccessful back home because they were like really aggressive and negative, and they become like sex tourists and misogynists overseas. And I don't really like to associate with those people. I think they're not really like part of the true passport bros movement. That's something completely different. Those are like sex tourists and people who really aren't looking for genuine love. So I'm going to address my experiences on America's broken dating culture. So I am Chinese American, born and raised in New York City, lived there for most of my life, and it was very challenging for me to find romance, to get dates, successful dates. Now, I did have good relationships, but none of them really lasted into anything really meaningful for me. And it was a struggle for me to really keep up with the pace of American dating culture. That's not to say that I'm not shifting the blame completely on the American dating culture. Of course, a guy has to, be the best version of himself, keep their appearance clean, work on their fitness, have money, so you can support, someone else, a significant other in your life. Obviously, there are things that you really can't change about yourself, like your race, your height, what kind of status you're born into. That stuff you can't control. But I did work with the things that was given to me, and I tried to be the best person, the best version of myself that I could. But somehow in America, New York City especially, because that's where I did most of my dating, it really didn't feel enough. And I was told very early, someone's driving behind me, I was told very early on in my life that I really should be myself. I don't really need to try so hard. But I found that in American culture, you really do have to put in some effort and try different things, put yourself out there in order to get noticed. You need to approach people, approach women, and make the first move, so to speak. So I really had to do a lot of this. It was exhausting, by the way. Signed up for online dating, asked for referrals, went out to social events, and I probably went on over 100 first dates. Now you might be saying, man, that's a lot. I'm sure you would have truly found someone by then in New York. Well, I did have some positive experiences and bad experiences, but I would say most of them were bad. And I guess I have to go into some of these examples and the data that I collected. I found that a lot of the women that I met were, let's say, not really compatible with my values. They really weren't looking for anything longer term. They were very superficial, some of them even materialistic too, and some even flat out saying to me, hey, you're too short. This was when, dating apps, well, I think some of them still don't require you to disclose your height. So they asked me, what's my height? And I said, oh, this is it, and no, you're an inch too short. And I'm like, okay, does that really matter to you? And I didn't get a reply after that. I got completely ghosted. Those are the kind of people I was talking to sometimes. And then there was another person I met who flat out wanted me to support her family back in China only after the first date. Directly asked me for a monthly stipend to give her. And I was like, is this normal to ask of a guy just on the first date? I didn't really buy into that. I wasn't that dumb. But yeah, these are the crazy stories and experiences that I had to deal with. I had to deal with a lot of women dealing with emotional issues too, like unresolved issues from a previous relationship. I know there's one girl who went back with her ex, and there's also one girl who I thought I had chemistry with, went to a Broadway play with, and then flat out asked me, like on the next date, if I could marry her because she wanted to stay in the US. And throughout that whole time, like when I met her, she didn't really show any romantic interest to me. She didn't hold my hand. She shied away from me. So I was like, no, this is not true love. You're just here just because of my, status as a US citizen. So those were some of the experiences I had to deal with in the US, and how I first knew that the American dating culture was broken. Also, not even counting the people who I went on first dates with, some of these people who I contacted on dating apps and even through referrals, some of them even straight up ghosted me, stopped replying right away. And in this world where you don't really get closure, I guess I really got kind of immune to it in a way. When a woman stops replying to you, that is the closure. And I know that happens to a lot of people too. So it was a struggle for me, for sure. I did have some female friends at the time who were also dating, but I recognized a trend with some of them. Some of them will flat out tell me, hey, my online dating profile, I had like over 1,000 likes this week, and I was shocked. I was like, is this even possible? Like 1,000 likes in a week? And that got to me thinking. I was like, if they got 1,000 likes in a week and they just really look average, like what are the chances of like someone like me who's an average person to get a date and to get discovered? So I decided to try an experiment. I opened up a fake dating profile. Thank you. Come on. So I opened up a fake dating profile, one where I pretended to be a woman, and I just used a random person's image that I found from Google search. They weren't even that attractive, and already just after signing up, I must have gotten like 5 or 10 likes. And I got the same results. By the end of the week, I had over 1,000. I didn't really match with anybody. I just did it for the data and the experiment because I am an analytical person and I wanted to really discover, like, why am I struggling so much? And I knew at that point, like, wow, dating apps are extremely skewed in favor of women and are really designed to keep both men and women on the dating apps for as long as possible. As if you think about it, these dating app companies like the Match Group, they wouldn't be reporting so much revenue if people were meeting their lifelong partners on the app. They would stop using it, right? So they keep people in this perpetual cycle of paying and subscribing to these online dating services to keep their bottom line up. So there's a serious mismatch between dating apps and the business model. It doesn't really work out in favor of the user if you think about it. So there's that. And a few years pass, and I noticed also some of the people I dated previously were still on the dating apps, still looking for their special someone. And I knew already from meeting them the first time that they were really unrealistic with their standards. Like that 1 or 2 inches more in height, you know, makes a big difference, but it does to them. And I also got told I was too nice as well, or, you know, too safe. And to me, I was like, what is this nonsense? What do you mean I'm too nice, too safe? Like, isn't that what a man is supposed to do? Be a nice person, be respectful. I mean, I get it. There's other qualities too. You gotta be strong. You gotta lead the family, take charge. But, you know, being too nice, isn't that a good quality you want? And some people were telling me like, oh, you know, girls don't really like the nice guys. They want the bad boys. Well, I didn't want that. To me, my inner feeling, my inner compassion wasn't to be a bad boy. That just wasn't my personality. I wasn't going to change for somebody. And I find that a very good quality about myself. I didn't really change the core qualities of who I was in order to attract someone. So there's that. I got labeled as the nice guy, and maybe that's a negative in American society, but not a negative everywhere. So I really struggled with dating in America for a long time. I did have good relationships, but a few years into it, I was like, you know, since this is such a major epidemic with me, back then I still was running this YouTube channel. I might have had like between 100,000 and 200,000 subscribers. I'm not really sure. I actually decided to play as a matchmaker for once and get a feel of what it's like to, you know, help someone find their love, because it was so hard for me. I was like, this actually might be a good side business to get into, because I really care about the world, and I wanted to see if I could really make a difference. Well, just by getting into that business of matchmaking, basically I was like trying to reach out to women on online dating profiles and through social media, asking them if they'd like to sign up for the service. And it was a really stark realization when I asked them what they're looking for, what their requirements were, and a lot of them repeated the same things. Making over like $200,000 a year salary, tall height, good looking. And I was like, man, this seems really unrealistic. This would never work. So suffice to say, I wasn't in that for very long. I only tried it for like a week or two, and then I realized like most women are like this. I'm like, come on, this is not really good for society. And I did notice like one of the people who was still on a dating app after contacting me about their requirements like a year or two later. So it didn't really look too promising for me, but regardless, I tried because I knew from early on that I functioned much better in a relationship. So I tried different avenues of approaching women, even trying to get professional help with matchmaking agencies myself. When I signed up for a matchmaking agency, even got my father to like meet the founder, and my father was like, yeah, he just needs a nice girl to like be with. My son's been trying a long time, and it was very challenging for me to actually find me someone. I think they didn't even match me with a single person. That's how tough it was for them to like match me with what I was looking for, because it didn't really exist in America to find a nice girl willing to start a family who is young. And that really was sad and frustrating to hear. As I know personally, when I was searching out, I put in a lot of effort just to even get dates and be recognized. So I can imagine what this matchmaking agency, what they tried to do. So I knew from then that there was something fundamentally wrong with the American dating culture. It was very exhausting for me. My race didn't help either. I know it's not the only bullet point that worked against me, but it did play a major part. Asian men aren't really desired on the dating scale. However, Asian women, they're viewed more highly for some reason. And I had a lot of things working against me. But I was always told how nice I was, how I would be a good husband, but it didn't work out for me. So I was like, forget it, let me just work on myself. During the COVID pandemic, that really shut down a lot of my dating prospects, because I really wanted to meet someone at that time. And since the world was shut down, I couldn't really do anything except maybe do some online dating and chat virtually, but that was just a really, really bad time. And so I really just worked on myself, worked on my YouTube channel, and I was very grateful for it, because I really poured all my heart and soul into growing this channel, and it really showed during those years when New York City, the world was in lockdown. And I can never really forgive the world or world leaders and politicians for disrupting society the way it was back then, knowing what we do now. So in a way, my YouTube channel allowed me to be free, allowed me to make some more challenging choices. In the beginning of 2021, I actually quit my job working in New York City, full-time job, and did this channel full-time because I saw the success of my channel during 2020 lockdowns. And so I tried traveling to Asia, and while it wasn't like all roses and like very easy to meet someone in Asia, it was definitely a lot easier than America. And this was a really stark reality to me. I was like, oh, this is interesting. Like, people don't really see me the same as back in the US. Here, my nice qualities are actually seen as a positive rather than a negative. And that really enveloped my passion to continue trying in Asia, and it ended up working. I'm actually with someone right now. They're very happy, I'm very happy. And for all my viewers out there who are frustrated with dating in America, just realize that it may not be you, it's just the culture. And that culture, just don't let it weigh you down. Work on yourself and maybe try expanding your options outside America if possible. I know it's not easy. It takes a lot of work, it takes a lot of time, it takes money. And for me, it even takes learning a new language too, to get to know the culture better. And I did have to take my time to like understand the cities in Asia and really explore, and got to know their way of life. But hope you enjoyed today's vlog of why I think America's dating market is broken. Long before this passport bros movement became mainstream, I had a lot of data and first-hand experience to back it up. Hit that like button for me. I'll see you next time. Bye folks, take care.
Dating in New York was brutal, I tell you. Absolutely 0 likes. I was losing hope. But then I spent so many years searching for love in New York City, always ending up with 0 matches and a broken heart.
Honestly, dating in NYC was brutal. I was ready to quit. But then I found her in Saigon, and everything just clicked.